seems like she has her whole life together. But
that's a tough one to follow.
It's very, very tough. But that's kind of the whole point of this, right? I get to meet peers that are from similar backgrounds as me, but at the same time excelling in different ways, right? And that's all I could ask for from a scholarship like this, to just connect with people like me, inspired, and you know, also gone through the trials and tribulations, right? So just a little introduction about myself. Like my badge says, I'm a senior at the University of Illinois right now. It's surreal to say that in a semester and a half I will be graduating from that institution. That's something that, if you were to rewind 10 years ago, it was an unattainable goal in my book. I didn't think I was deserving enough for a college education, or worthy of even being in the conversation of admission. But you know, through the process of just, you know, great mentors and great family members, I was able to motivate myself and actually get through that. So I am originally from Aurora, Illinois. I was born and raised there. My parents immigrated from a small town in Mexico, in Durango. And you know, simple as you read in headlines and as you see everywhere, simply to just give me a better life. And that's literally just what they did, and that's something I will forever be grateful for serving me the opportunity. And although they didn't have past the 6th grade education, they were able to instill in me values that were very wise. And in retrospect, I realized that that was something that really separated me from everybody else in the class. And it was, although they didn't, you know, have that solid education, they knew that education was a key to succeed here in the States. Right? They knew education was the greatest equalizer, and that was something I had to really wrap my mind around. And the next one was just simply hard work. So before I begin, I just want to thank all of you guys for being here. It really means a lot to see the community actually form. This is one of the handful of times I get to see the community in action. The rest of the time I'm in school, and I kind of, you know, tend to forget about the fact that what I am doing is part of a bigger plan, right? I forget that I have a whole community behind me to support. I'm doing this not only for myself, but for my family, my community, and for all of you that believe that this program can work. So I really appreciate seeing everybody here. It makes me feel more empowered to go and hit the books even harder. So really thank you guys for coming out today. Yeah, round of applause for you. And so just to kind of give a brief background about, you know, me and kind of how I grew up. This time I'm doing something a little bit more unique. I guess I'm trying to pinpoint one experience that really was found a pivotal moment in my life to be where I'm at today. Instead of trying to give you a resume of my entire life, right? So it kind of culminates at the Modern Woodsman speech contest in 5th grade. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Modern Woodsman speech contests. So it's pretty much, schools usually host this where they ask students to write about a topic and then perform it in front of the school, and it's judged, and you know, there's 1st place, 2nd place, 3rd place. So it's an amazing event, right? And that was a moment in my life in 5th grade where my life really started to change around, and I saw a vision for myself that I had never seen before. The first 3-4 years of my life in public education, which was from 1st grade to 4th grade, I struggled tremendously, primarily because English wasn't my first language, and I simply couldn't understand it. I couldn't communicate with the class, right? And so you start to fall behind in a lot of aspects, not only in academics, but socially. And I realized reading and writing was just something that I just couldn't do. And that could be very detrimental for a child. It could be very hard to go to school and feel like you're failing every day. And I realized that I had a decision to make, and looking back on it, I realize now that I did make a decision. It was either to become resentful of school or to continue, you know, powering through something that I didn't even know was going to lead to a better life, right? But one thing my parents did give me was they sold me the idea. They sold me the idea that education, that after, you know, just kind of pushing through all these, you know, hardships and embarrassments almost, that there was that light at the end of the tunnel, and that I would understand that all of this was meant for a bigger purpose, right? And I was sold this without even knowing what school was or what it was going to lead to, but I believed them, and that's something that really changed my life, because I realized that resentfulness that you hold towards school and feel like a failure there, it begins to develop a community. And unfortunately, I saw a lot of friends that fell victim to that they became resentful, and those are the kids that, you know, ended up leading to drugs, violence, and gangs in the community. And that was, something that could have easily been me. And so when I come here and talk to you guys about this, I am one of the privileged few that was able to actually make it out and tell my story and hopefully come back to my community and do the same. So that was kind of my elementary years, and that Modern Woodsman speech contest was symbolic to me because I became almost obsessive at the fact that I was going to be able to speak in front of all the classmates and all the teachers that saw me either struggle or that uplifted me when I was at my lowest points, and I was going to be able to prove myself not only worthy to them, but now I realize I was proving to myself that I could do something that I didn't see before, right? So I ended up winning the competition. I got first place, and it was a moment where I realized that there's really nothing holding me back except myself. And from 5th grade on, I really, started surpassing the bar. Instead of being a below average student, I was now involved in a lot of activities. I was able to earn my first set of straight A's, and from then on out, it was just almost habit. And my senior year, I was holding a lot of important positions in the high school, and college rolled around, and I was very excited. And that's kind of where Greenhouse, plays a part, right? So I was grateful to be one of the lucky few, but once college rolls around, I realized I had to fund my entire education, or else I wasn't going to be able to go to school. And so I applied to a bunch of different scholarships, and luckily Greenhouse was one of them. And it was literally luck of the draw that I found it on a FastWeb, which is a scholarship website, and kind of just sent my application. And I realized, once I was already admitted into the program, that it was not only going to fund my school, but also keep me alive during those 4 years that were to come. And that's where I realized that, the process to college I thought was the hardest part, but actually maintaining yourself in college is the hardest part. And that's, I talk about my first couple years in school being the hardest. I realize now that it is definitely not, and college has been one of the most troublesome years of my life because I was separated from those communities, from my resources, my parents, my mentors. And the only thing I had, the only lifeline I really had was Greenhouse. The emails they would send me on a monthly basis to check up on me, the calls I would get from some of the staff members to just see how I was doing, how I was feeling. And so, I just kind of want to briefly kind of point to some of the things that they've done. I was connected with a great mentor in Jeff Meliton that has become, now after 4 years of being connected with him, as a friend of mine. And I can feel like I can reach out to him and ask him what I consider sometimes dumb questions, just about life and how business works, right? And that's an amazing resource to have. The second is Flex Funding, which literally paid my way into my internship this summer. I literally couldn't afford the metro ticket from Aurora to Chicago, and Greenhouse was able to be that middleman and allow me to do that. And simply what I love the most is just the peer network that we have. Being able to meet Sarah. If it wasn't for this scholarship, I wouldn't have even understood or known who she was, her story, or what she was going to do in the world. And being able to be in a room with just a bunch of motivated people that are majoring in completely different things makes me, want to work with them and inspire myself to just, change the world in different ways. And so kind of my vision for the future is to go back to my community and change those kids that are in that decision point that I had back when I was in 3rd grade, where I could either become resentful or continue striving along. And I want to be able to sell them that idea just like my parents did to me. I want to, just kind of show them that it's not how you start, but it's how you finish. And although you don't want where you came from to dictate where you go, you want it to still be a part of who you become. And that's just kind of the profound meaning that Greenhouse has not only allowed me to know, but to kind of just instill on the people that I come across. So, I really want to I appreciate you guys all coming out tonight, and that's kind of my story. And if you have any further questions, please just let us know. Me and Sarah are really here for the evening. So, thank you.